Inside PressBox is presented by Live Casino and Hotel. Always live, always on. And welcome into Inside PressBox. Stan the Fan Charles here on the back end of the Thanksgiving weekend with my co-host Gary Stein. And we've got a sensational set of guests lined up for the show this week, Gary.
Each and every week, my friend, each and every week. Terps basketball is rolling through its non-conference schedule, but are they ready for Wednesday's big game against fourth-ranked Virginia? TerpTalk.com's Bruce Posner shares his observations from College Park. And we'll touch on the Orioles' new hires and Lamar Jackson's first game under center in another installment of Crosstalk.
But first, we have a fascinating comeback story from the racing community. That's horse racing. In November of 2017, Jockey Jenn Miller suffered a traumatic brain injury at Charlestown races. After a year away from the sport, she's back exercising racehorses at Laurel Park, another big step in her comeback journey. It's a pleasure to welcome in Jenn Miller. Jenn, great to see you here.
Same here. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Met you a couple weeks ago at the Hall of Fame banquet, and Steve Doherty, the chairman of that committee, said, you ought to meet this gal. She's incredibly interesting.
And here you are.
So here you are, and you are incredibly interesting. Tell us a little bit about, I know you've been around horses for a long time. How did you get to the point of wanting to ride racehorses on the thoroughbred circuit?
Well, I was actually starting my own business training show horses. And to make a little extra money, I started galloping for a racehorse trainer in the morning, and I thought, this is a lot of fun. Then I started working with one of his 2-year-olds and teaching her how to break out of the gate, and I went, this is a lot of fun. And there's more money in it than there is in show horses. Once I started working her out of the gate, I was just hooked. I knew I wanted to be a jockey. Weight wasn't an issue. I'm naturally small, so I thought, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. And here I am.
And so from that, and so how long ago was that?
That was the beginning of 2015.
Okay, so we're going back about three and a half years.
Yeah.
So how did your career progress to the point where this incident occurred, which we'll talk about in a minute?
Okay, well, I worked for this particular trainer for about a year. Went down to Florida the next winter, did some freelance work, and then got a job with Rosie Napravnik and her husband, Joe Sharp. And that was great, so I got to go out to Kentucky with them, went up to Saratoga, saw a whole bunch of different tracks. And for anyone who's a fan of racing, Rosie Napravnik has been one of the best jockeys ever, not just female jockeys, one of the best
ever,
jockeys.
There's no question about it.
And so she was my mentor. I learned so much from her. I learned so much about racing and horses from being in Joe Sharp's barn. It was great. And November 2016, I got my license in Kentucky, and they said, go to Maryland. That's the place to start. So I moved out here Thanksgiving of November 2016, rode for approximately a year, and got hurt right after Thanksgiving of 17.
Now, you mentioned that off the air, you mentioned you've got 53 wins under your belt. That's pretty impressive for the first year. And I'm not trying to be sexist and say for a woman, that's pretty good the first year for anybody.
Thank
53 wins.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the incident that happened at Charlestown.
Well, unfortunately, I was down there riding for an outfit that I ride for primarily at Laurel, but they were shipping one down there and asked if I'd go down and ride them, and so I did. And unfortunately, he had an injury during the race, and so I went down. And I don't remember any of it, but it looks like I probably was knocked out when I hit the ground, and I got hit by the one horse left behind me in the race. As he tried to jump over me, he kicked me in the jaw and broke my jaw.
Wow.
So you say you don't remember really any of it, right?
Not really.
But how many times have you watched the video?
Many.
Right.
At least a dozen times.
And why do you watch the video that much?
I was curious. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. I was sitting in the hospital bed. I had my phone. I had internet access. I was curious what happened.
So you're curious what happened. You know what the potential is. What has driven you for the past year to want to continue to do something that is that potentially injurious to your health?
Love for the game.
Okay. That's a fair answer.
That is a fair answer.
I love it. I miss it.
Do you have any fear at all getting back on the mount?
No. I started getting on horses, exercising them in the mornings at Laurel Racetrack a little over a week ago. Fear's not been an issue. I've breezed some horses. It's not been a problem with breezing, standing in the gate. It's all been fine.
Now, you've been cleared to ride horses in the morning. What is the next hurdle that a doctor has to say, cognitively and neurologically, that you're okay to ride in the races?
Actually, the biggest thing now is just fitness. Riding horses in the morning is how I'm going to work towards getting fit to ride again in the afternoon. And the doctors at the track just want to make sure that I am fit enough to handle the job before they clear me.
Yesterday, I just saw something on Gary Stein. We've got less than a minute. He's got to retire at the age of 55 because he's got a spinal condition that if he went the wrong way and knocks on, he could be paralyzed for life.
It's true.
Talk a little bit about that.
Gary Stein is an incredible rider. I've met him. He's a nice professional person. He's an incredible rider. He's had a great career, but he has hit a point where he's looking at this injury saying, you know what, it's just not worth it. I've had my career. It's time to move on to other things.
20 seconds. What are your career goals?
Everybody says, every jockey will tell you, ride in the Derby.
Right.
But little steps, I'm looking for a stakes win.
Good stuff.
Let's hope we can get you back on in the spring once you're back racing.
That'd be wonderful.
Thank you for coming in.
Certainly
Thank
after
you.
she wins the Derby.
I appreciate it. Well, definitely. Then she won't want to come on the show. Up next, do the Terps have what it takes to stun their old ACC rival Virginia on Wednesday? TerpTalk.com's Bruce Posner is next. Stay with us for more Inside PressBox.
And grab your tickets now to see comedian Carlos Mencia December 8th. R&B hitmakers Jagged Edge and 112 featuring Slim and Mike February 1st, and funny man Chris D'Elia March 15th. Before they're gone, only at Live Casino and Hotel's new event center. Purchase tickets at livecasinohotel.com. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And Royal Farms World Famous Chicken has been ranked #1 Food and Wine magazine. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. Inside PressBox is presented by Live Casino and Hotel. Always live, always on.